Thank you again for your brag. I appreciate that very much. I thought before to make this presentation a lot more memorable, enjoyable, and exciting, we will be doing a PowerPoint presentation throughout. But before I do that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a history of how I got involved with the BOC. And it was due to Rotary. That's where I met Phil Dunham, and he was such a great guy. He ended up at the time was president of the BOC, and he invited me to join the board in 2002. And lo and behold, I wasn't planning this, but 2 years later, all of a sudden, I jumped from just a measly board member to president of the BOC. So anyway, make a long story short, I was on the board as president up until 2012. And before we get going on the presentation, I wanted to ask, of the people that are here, how many of you have been a BOC or are a BOC member? You'd raise your hand. Okay, we've had many members. In fact, today we have about 550 members as well. What I'd like to do at this point is to give you a little bit of the history, and that is Fred Harris was the founder of both the Harris Hill Ski Jump and the Brattleboro Outing Club. And the club was formed itself in February 24th, 1922 for the sole purpose of running the ski jump. And what happened was the ski jump was very popular and turned out to be a very significant fundraiser for the club throughout the years. And what happened is the ski jump was run solely by BOC volunteers. And we had run that from 1922 up until it was like 2005. So it was about 83 years at that point. The following year, when I was president of the board as well, the hill was really it was in terrible shape. The jump really needed a lot of improvements. And to make a long story short, the BOC gifted the hill to the Harris Hill Ski Jump Group for $1. And at that point, we kind of relinquished anything to do with the hill at that point, but we have been supportive of them in the past and will be continuing going forward as well. With this said, I would like to start the PowerPoint presentation, and Dave Neumeister and I will kind of do this together, but I'll talk the first part of it here. So let me know if you can see this screen at this point. Can everyone see the BOC?
It is on.
Okay, good. So anyway, this is the BOC. This is our website. And again, our slogan has always been for good sports. Some of the clips here, this is just show what the Brattleboro Outing Club was a while ago. And this is showing where the fees were $15, $7.50, $5 for family, adult, and junior member. One of the things about the outing club that we'd like to do is we like to keep the fees very low and very affordable for everyone to enjoy. We're very much family oriented, and that has continued for well over 100 years now, into our 100th year. This is another one that showed joined the BOC, the #1 ski and outing club. And this was posted in 1968. Right here, this is the charter that formed the BOC. And as you can see in the bottom left is Fred Harris's signature. And it showed that the date was Friday, 24th, 1922. What happened was Dave Neumeister, before leaving Brattleboro, I don't know if I should applaud him or curse him, but he dropped off 4 huge boxes at my office, of which a lot of these pictures you're about to see are coming from. And again, this is a picture of the Harris Hill Ski Jump, which will have many pictures, but just to give you an idea of what it was like. And this event attracted thousands of spectators. At this point, I'm going to pass the baton to David to talk a little bit about some of the past history of the BOC. David?
Thank you very much, Dave. The Brattleboro Outing Club, being 100 years old, has evolved, and what you see and participate in as the outing club today is much more expansive and a different organization. But it's always been dedicated to healthy outdoor family activity at a low cost. that has throughout the 100 years always been its motivating purpose as an organization. Society has evolved, and kayaking and canoeing and rowing and hiking and other outdoor activities have expanded during that time period. I'm going to share with you my personal experience in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, about 40 years, 45 years of living in Brattleboro, and share you what the experience was like growing up in Brattleboro. To me, the Brattleboro Outing Club in the 50s was like water to a fish, something you swim around in without really knowing how it got there or knowing what sustains it. I grew up loving to be outdoors, wanting to ski, packing out my own ski trails across the street from where I grew up, which is across from Solar Hill. And I would pack out 10-foot wide swath of that hill and ski over there with people from the neighborhood, my brother and other friends from up and down Western Avenue. And we began skiing before there were lifts in Brattleboro. We built ski jumps over there and jumped as well, because we knew that Harris Hill was down the road. And if we got really good at this, we might even be able to jump off Harris Hill. And that was an aspiration of an 8-year-old, 1952. I never actually met Fred Harris, although we overlapped for a number of years at that time. But the legacy that he has in Brattleboro with jumping, with outdoor activities, with the tennis courts. He was also an avid tennis player. He was responsible for building the tennis courts on Cedar Street, which later have evolved and courts have been added. There's more clay courts there now than there was in 1922. But I grew up bicycling to those tennis courts, and I learned to play tennis there. I took lessons from Brattleboro Outing Club, 1955, 57, 1962, when I graduated from high school. My tennis experience was built by the Brattleboro Outing Club lessons in the summer. I learned to ski first at Latches Hill. If Dave would move the slides forward a little bit, I'll show you. That right there is Latches Hill. I don't know if there are other people in this club, whether Roger remembers that, whether Milt might remember that. Can you picture, or does anyone in the club want to speak up and say, where is that located? That is Latches Ski Hill, 1950.
That behind Price Chopper now?
That's correct. Who said that?
Someone who's both too young and not here long enough to know that. Tom Franks.
Yes, that is the parking lot of Price Chopper, Market 32. That white building in the center of the distance is the Vermont Inn Pizza. That originally was the property owned by Latches, the person that started Latches Theaters in Brattleboro. He lived on Fairview Street off to the left in this picture. This hillside that you're seeing sloped up for a long distance. Before the interstate, there was quite a hillside right there that also included a ski jump. And people took ski jump lessons getting ready to go to Harris Hill on this hill right here. To the right of that rope tow was a ski jump. Well to the right of that hill, if you kept going up towards where Rescue is located, there was a larger ski jump, a 40-meter ski jump. So this hillside right here that where the photographer is standing included a ski hill with a rope tow, a small ski jump, and a medium size, 40 meters, about 120 feet in distance, ski jump in the 1950s. This is where I learned to ski. This is the first time I ever saw a ski lift. The ski lessons that I took on this hill were provided by the Brattleboro Outing Club. Even then, they were getting youth of the community involved in skiing. My instructor, who was 4, 5, 6 years older, was Peter Hawks. His mother worked at the bookseller for many years, and some of you may remember Mary Hawks, his mother. Peter Hawks was a very, very good skier. He also was a ski jumper. He also did cross-country skiing, because most people in the 50s, if you did one of those events, you did all of them. 4-event skiing was very common at that time. It was also common in the 60s and 70s, as a matter of fact. And Peter Hawks later got a scholarship to Dartmouth, and I've remained friends with Peter Hawks. He lives in Burlington. He's a Rotarian and a Burlington Rotary Club. And he would tell you that he would not have been attending Dartmouth on a scholarship if it wasn't for the Brattleboro Outing Club. And there are literally hundreds of people who are like Peter Hawks. There are people like Al Gerard, who was on the ski team at Tufts. There are lots and lots of people, some of whom you know, some of whom have long left the Brattleboro community. But they learned skiing through coaching provided by the Outing Club, and went on to ski competitively in high school, to ski competitively in colleges, and in some cases, ski competitively after college. Go ahead, a couple pictures if you would. Next, one more. 1956, the town of Brattleboro bought the Clark farm. This was an operating dairy farm on this hillside and this field on Guilford Street, and began Memorial Park. Memorial Park is a tribute to women and men who died in World War II. And it has been built out expansively since 1956. But this was the first ski lift at Memorial Park. This is a painting of that lift. I skied on that lift right there. That's a rope tow that was, the facility was donated by the Brattleboro Rotary Club. Lessons were provided on this hill, and races were held on this hill for kids in Brattleboro. Starting in 1956, 57, I was elementary school, high school. As you look at this picture, that lift that you're seeing in this painting is at a different location than the current T-bar.
Yeah.
The T-bar is off to the left from where that building is. But this was the first lift on that hillside. There's something else that's distinctive, 1956, 57, when this painting was made, about this scene. In the distance, as you look off there, if you stood in this location today and looked off in the distance, you would see an interstate highway going through there. 1956, 57, there was no interstate highway in that distant, in those fields over there on the horizon.
Mhm.
The Outing Club still is giving lessons on this hillside. The Outing Club went on to build a small ski jump on the upper ball field, softball field, as you know. It later fell into disrepair, and the Harris Hill Ski Jump Committee has now rebuilt that ski jump, actually. So there is a small jump again at Memorial Park, so youngsters in the Brattleboro can learn to ski jump on that hill, as much as they learned on the ski jump that was located at Latches Hill previously.
David, do you mind if I pick up the ball here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we just have a lot of slides I want to be able to share as well. But this is just showing, some of these are pictures which are just amazing. And look at the number of spectators that are here. This is from way back when the ticket to go was $1. And anyway, it's gone up quite a bit, but anyway, there's still a bargain. I think they're on sale now for $20 for local Brattleboro residents. This is showing a couple of pictures here. And these were all in the scrapbook that David, you had left me. So we had gone through this and got these pictures as well. And I don't know if you remember the story of this, but I will share with again, but apparently the ski jump was taking place, and Phil Dunham, we all know Phil, was a participant in the ski jump. And for some reason, there was a couple that had come out from California to see the jump. Later, a month or two later, they wanted to reach out and connect with Phil. They could not remember his name. Back then, they would have operators that answer the phone, and would be able to manually help people on the phone. The person said, by the way, I'm trying to find this guy. Gosh, he's a dentist. He ski jumped. He's the flying dentist. And anyway, since then, he was known then as the flying dentist. And this is a picture of Phil up in the hill. And here's a picture of him in the reformer as well. And it showed that he had rides of 187, 182, and 186 feet. But anyway, quite amazing. David, why don't you share with us what the Ski Meister was, which was also hosted by the BOC.
At the end of every ski season, late March, early April, the Brattleboro Outing Club sponsored a Ski Meister event for youth from the age of 5 through high school. And there was a cross-country race, a jump, a slalom race, and a downhill race with ribbons for about 10 places in each age group, 2-year age bracket, so that lots of people got awards. And you competed in all 4 events. Your major sport may have been ski jumping or cross country or alpine events, but you competed at the end of the season in all 4 events. And you accumulated points in each event, and the annual awarding of Ski Meister awards in the 5, 6, 7-year-olds, 8, 9-year-olds, 10, 11, 12-year-olds was a very big deal. It used to be held in the Brooks House ballroom, 2nd floor of the Brooks House on the corner of High Street. And there was lots of people in attendance, and it was a big deal, whoever won the Ski Meister trophies at the end of the ski season. And it was an outing club event.
So this is showing, I'm just going to go through some of these pictures, but this shows you a few people here. One of them is Frank Barber from Brattleboro. There's a couple of people from the Dartmouth Outing Club. Again, this was during the Winter Carnival. I know the BOC would sponsor Queen as well during this event. Dana Zelinakis, our own local native here in Brattleboro, was a ski jumper. And in fact, he qualified and was on the US Olympic jumping team in 1972. So this was an article in there about that, but he really just, and Dana also has been very involved with the Hairsail ski jump group as well. Here are a couple of pictures, and Hugh Barber is there on the right. And the Winged Ski Trophy was the trophy, which I still think is today, the one that they would award to the winner of the Hairsail ski jump. If you won it 3 years in a row, the trophy would be retired. Now this Hugh Barber on the right, this is the 2nd year that he won the trophy. I'm not sure if he retired the trophy. He may have, but anyway, this picture was when he won it for the 2nd time.
The woman in that picture is Helen Harris, Fred Harris's wife, awarding that trophy. She worked at the retreat and was a bit younger than Fred when they were married.
And Sandy Harris is the one who's now still involved with the Hairsail ski
Their
jump.
daughter, yeah.
This is also showing when the BOC had their 50th anniversary in '72, Jerry Sears, another fellow Rotarian, was the president of the BOC at that time. There's a picture of Jerry as well. I want to give you a little bit of an overview of the programs that the BOC has in the past and what we have going forward. This is our new logo. We had to make it a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit fuzzier, but anyway, we have a cross-country and snowshoer. So we do have this cross-country and snowshoe program up at the Brattleboro Country Club. This was showing it earlier on, probably in the 50s and 60s, where we would offer and still do ski instruction for people learning to cross-country ski. Here's a couple of pictures, and this shows, again, some kids skiing down a hill. I'm not sure where that hill was located. And here's another little toddler there. This is, it says, didn't really say where this was as well, but it just talked about that, that there was the National Ski Jumping Championship, and it was hosted, and the BOC was very much involved with a lot of activity as well. Here's another picture with that as well. These are some of the participants in our cross-country program. And David, just for the next, if you could just do an abbreviated description of who these folks were, and I'll, between this one and the next couple slides.
This photo in the middle is a picture of skiers departing for the National Junior Nordic Championships, those jumping and cross-country championships. Every year, they select 15 kids out of the East and Central and Far West and Rocky Mountain to go to the national championships. And always there were kids came out of Brattleboro that competed in those, and the outing club raised money to help defray their travel expenses. For this particular year, we had 4 skiers who went to that event. Bernie Wells, Dave Lance, Phil Rancourt, and Dave Austin. And the outing club raised $7,000 to help pay the expenses for them to go.
Now,
Pictures were taken at Memorial Park at night. At the top of Memorial Park by the shelter, there was a lighted half-mile cross-country course, lighted, and they had night races up there. The outing club put the lights up, sponsored the races, hosted the races, and there were international competitors. This picture on the left shows some of them who came to Brattleboro as part of a circuit, and they raced cross-country races at night. They did loops around and around and around a half-mile course.
the team on the right is from Alaska, by the way. It's the Alaska cross-country skiers. This is, I'm going to go quickly because we have a few more things to go through, but here's the same people flying to the event that David had recently described. There were some cross-country races here, and sometimes these pictures, can you imagine the amount of skiers here? And this was, again, it didn't say specifically where. Again, some more photos. I just want to cover some of our other programs too. This is Bill Koch, Koch, whoever remembers, was on the Olympic team. He was 16 years old at the time, and he was a Putney School student. This is showing John Caldwell, and then I'm guessing his sister Hester Caldwell.
Yeah, Hester's his mother, but yes.
His mother. Okay.
The outing club has always groomed trails at the country club. Had a very healthy, nice relationship with the country club, and that goes back when I was in high school in the 50s and 60s. They groomed trails like they still do today at the country club.
And one of the things that we have added is the Snowshoe Program, which is separate from our groomed trails. So this just shows you, we also have a dog trot trail. So anyone who has a dog, you're able to take your dogs on this field. This is owned by the Retreat Farm, and we'd like to also thank Buzz Schmidt for his ability to let us utilize that facility. This is Dave Johnson, who's also the coach of both the BUHS men's and women's Nordic ski team. He himself is an accomplished skier as well, and recently went to Norway this last fall and won a trophy there as well. What happened with the evolution with our cross-country program, we used to always have to, the country club, which I'd like to give a lot of credit to because that's where we are located at this point, we would always utilize the pro shop, and the pro shop would have to be cleared out, and then we'd have to bring in all the skis and set it up inside. It was a lot of work, a lot of volunteers were involved. And what happened was in 2019, Bill Jan secured a grant, and we're able to buy this building for $30,000 from the BUHS Career Center. This is showing it being delivered on pylons there. We ended up putting some ramps there, really did a nice job on the inside. It officially opened really that January 2020, and the snow really didn't come until February. But what happened was, due to COVID, we had to close this down, and we really have not had the ability to fully utilize this hut. This year, we are allowing 3 people at a time, along with our hut manager, to be in the hut as long as everyone is masked. This is showing a ramp on the side. This shows the front of the hut, our groomed trails, and this is showing a lot of the cross-country board and members and enthusiasts at the ribbon cutting ceremony for the hut. The Winter Carnival, we were very much involved with that. I won't go into the details as much, but now David, and actually you would know this, and Roger and Milt, this is showing a Sugar on Snow. Was the BOC, this was a Rotary event. Was this ever, did the BOC help with that or not? I'm not sure, but way back when, for some
Not
reason,
that I know of, no.
this picture was in with the rest of the books. I thought it was nice to see that, especially with Rotary's involvement. One of the things that the BOC had, which is really amazing, and this really was way before my time, but I do remember it. This was started probably in the late 50s, early 60s, and it was called the annual ski skate sale. And this was, we co-sponsored this event with the Brattleboro Recreation Center. And Carol Lolot has been, recently been very much involved over the last 10, 20 years with that. And you probably remember many times the 3 floors of the Gibson Aiken Center was filled. The top floor would have, could be downhill equipment. The middle floor could be cross country, and the bottom floor would be skates. Well, anyway, Phil and Mary were instrumental in running this program. And what happened was we renamed this in this ski skate sale in their name, and it's been called the Phil and Mary Dunham Ski Skate Sale. Our tennis program, as David had mentioned earlier, we were able to buy property in the 1930s, and this is probably Fred Harris was the one behind this as well.
Yes.
And 4 courts were initially built, and they were all clay courts. And what's nice about, if anyone plays tennis, I mean, these clay courts are the most amazing courts you've ever played on. They're excellent. And what's even more intriguing about it is the way we keep costs down is we have members volunteer to sweep and brush off the tapes. Here, this is Jack Burgess nailing the line right here. This is, I think this is Doug Holland's son, I was told. This was, we used to have a ref's stand in the middle of the courts, which is gone now. And these are some of the things that we do. We also have a lot of tennis programs for kids. And the last couple of years, unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that. We're hoping to be able to start that up again this spring. We will see. But again, here's are just some of the pictures of the activities of the court and some of the players here. On the left, we had some, BUHS had some great tennis players that came from the BOC as well. Right here, this is, I believe this is Jack Burgess's daughter, Helen.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I think their team won the states that year, didn't they, David?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They did. Again, this is the same picture. That's the stand. I also wanted to integrate some up-to-date, this is, and you can see our clubhouse has hardly changed. It looks very much the same. These 2 courts were later added, so we now have 6 courts. And you can see, really, the courts are in great shape. This is our head pro, Jacob Miller, a couple playing mixed doubles. Paddling program. This is headed up by Larry McIntosh, and this has been running for over 30 years. And he's been running special excursions throughout New England for a long time. And you can see he's just done a phenomenal job with that. When I was president in 2010, Tim Whitney approached the club and thought this would be a good fit, which it was. And what happened was we started a row BOC program, and under the help of Graham King, we built these docks. With Dennis Smith, we've been running a Quonset hut where our equipment is stored, and this has been going on really since 2010. We have about 43 members right now of this specific program, and really it's just really done very well. Here's a picture of the Quonset hut. And again, Linda Poussin is now the head of the row BOC group at this point. And really, I think this is the Main Street banner that we have. Since then, we've altered the wording on it to say BOC for good sports, celebrating outdoor fun, and it says since 1922. So really, with that said, that really is the presentation. But at this point, I would like to tell you a couple of things. One, I want to thank BOSEF, the Brattleboro Outing Club Education Fund, where we've had a lot of past presidents, and John Mabey is the chair of that group. And through that group, a lot of money has been gifted to the Outing Club to purchase snowmobiles, improve our tennis courts, by skulls, and it really is very much appreciated. And John, thank you very much, along with the BOSEP board, for that. I do want to let you know too, that coming up, there is going to be the night before the jump. It's going to be Friday, the 18th, from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock. There's going to be a big community party in the parking lot where the ski jump is. And it's co-sponsored with the Brattleboro Outing Club and the Harris Hill Ski Jump. And there's going to be a food truck, beer truck. The BOC is going to be selling ski buffs, and then it's going to be followed by fireworks at 8 o'clock. So as I say, it's going to be amazing. The jump area is completely lit now, and there's going to be ski jumping by the skiers that are going to be participating the following 2 days, and they're going to be doing spot jumping. So it really, if you get a chance, really, it's a free event, and I encourage you all to come and bring your families. The last thing I will say and reach out for, we are still looking for more volunteers. We have about 20 volunteers so far, and we could use 20 more. So if any of you who are watching this would be interested to volunteer, whether it be Friday night or even during the day, Saturday and Sunday at the ski jump itself, please do me a favor and shoot me an email, and I will connect you with the right people. We're looking for assistance with parking, setup, other things that's a long list of things that need to be accomplished, but we do have a couple of people that are heading up the volunteer effort to do that. With that said, I would like to entertain if anyone has any questions on the BOC. Okay. I don't
There's
see.
no questions. I might add one other unique feature of this. We have lasted for 100 years, focusing on family, healthy, outdoor, low cost, fun. And there's never been full-time staff. There's almost no people ever paid. The tennis instructor is paid. The person that grooms trails at the country club has sometimes been paid. But in general, everything that gets done by the outing club is done by volunteers for 100 years.
When the Harris Hill Ski Jump was run, it was all run by the BOC volunteers. And that has continued with the Harris Hill Ski Jump. They do the same thing. So again, it's one thing that's really unique for our community, that we have so many people that step up and volunteer and have fun in the process. One of the things that we're looking to do for the club is to make it more inclusive. We've offered the Afghan refugees the ability to snowshoe for free, utilizing our equipment. So that's in the process of being set up. We're also, we are offering them to the ability to learn how to ski with ski lessons. And one of the benefits of our club when you join, especially the cross-country program, is if we have the equipment, which we have a lot on hand, we rent that, we give that for free to our members. We want to encourage families to be able to, as kids get older, to be able to continue skiing where they don't have to continue to invest in equipment. If you are a member of the BOC, you are also entitled to rent for free ski gear as well as snowshoes. So with that said, again, yes, Carl?
Just want to comment that when my kids were younger, the BOC Alpine program was very active at Maple Valley. That's how they got into it. Jesse's kids were in there. I ended up being a coach for a while, and I think I had 20 some odd kids in a J5. Not only would we train every Saturday and Sunday morning and on days off, all volunteers, you say, but we also traveled to races and had kids. The best thing would be, well, the best, when the bigger mountains would poach our kids because they were good. You know, we had Burke poach some and Stratton poach some. So we could never place too high, but it was always better for the kids with those programs. But anyhow, that was very active. I don't know if they're active in the hogback days. I think actually BOC ran hogback for a few years, and then they took it when it made money. They took it back. But anyhow,
Dave, tell them about hogback, because we forgot to mention that, because that was another amazing program we had.
Yeah, Hogback ski area was the local ski area before there was Maple Valley. And the Brattleboro Outing Club and Hogback co-sponsored a bus every Saturday to take youth, young kids to Hogback skiing. It would leave from Main Street and go up High Street and Western Avenue and stop on the corner. And there were adults also who would ride the bus out, ride the bus back at 4 in the afternoon. And it was a free bus. And if you packed trails when you got to Hogback out there under the supervision of John Dunham, who was one of the founders of Hogback, Dunham Shoes, you'd get a free lift ticket. So oftentimes you could get a free ride up and you could ski for nothing. We didn't give lessons at Hogback, but lessons we gave were at the park. But once you got good enough to go to a bigger hill, you could take the bus to Hogback, and that was all an outing club project. We also had races, slalom and downhill races at Hogback that were, the gates were put up, the timing equipment was put up, the officials were all people from the outing club that volunteered. That was all done at Hogback for many, many years for youngsters in Brattleboro. Literally thousands of people learned to ski because of the outing club. No question about it. And play tennis because of the outing club.
So with that said, we probably have run out of time here, but we thank you, and we also thank you all for your support.
Great, that's great. Thank you, Dave and Dave. What